Press briefing in Lagos, General Manager Wazobia Info FM, Femi Obong-Daniel, says 16 young champions from various zones will gather in Lagos to compete at the national finals of the debate.
It is not winning that has been for us our icing on the, or our cherry on the cake. It's the fact that I beg to differ students debate has been one of our strongest tools for listening to young people. The debate topics range everything from politics to governance to anything that is current affairs, human angle. I beg to differ students debate tournament. Radio is on lockdown.
Okay. The general manager explained that the debate will be live across all Nigeria Info FM radio stations across the country and will also be streamed live on Facebook and YouTube. He said the judges would be unbiased in their judgment.
It will also be live on Kids FM, which is the baby of the Cool FM, Wazobia FM, Nigeria Info family. The judges have their independence to determine who the best debaters are based on all the criteria that have been set. And those criteria are the usual debate criteria. Poise, articulation, main points made to stand out.
Okay. Once upon a time, Onyekachi, at least when I was in secondary school, quiz and debates were more common. Then we had almost every school had a debating team. Of course, I belong to one. Now it's almost like, when it happens, it makes headlines. Like it's rare. I don't know about a lot of schools now, but I know that I haven't really heard students in that age range talk a lot about. Whenever there's a spelling bee, there's quiz or debate, it's like, wow, this is... Because it doesn't happen as frequently. Why do you think this is? First of all, am I correct? Maybe in your own part of, maybe it's more. But for me, this is what I've noticed.
You're absolutely correct, Sam. Absolutely. Really. Because as you're talking, I just recall that on NTA those days, I can't remember the time, but in the afternoon, there's this debate program we used to watch then. I'm trying to recall the name now, but I can't remember. It comes on between 2-4 something after school hours. You see little children or students come up to debate, and some kind of words that you just stick with you.
Yeah.
You grew up with it. So, but this is what we watch really is reality programs that we see often on national TV. I don't know whether to say it's unfortunate, but then things have really changed and people are tilting towards a lot of this reality TV, unfortunately showcasing something that are not too good for young people. But again, we must thank the management of Wazobia Info for coming up with this idea. Very noble idea. I mean, this debate thing makes it easy for young people. It builds their mindsets, critical thinking, like I heard him say, the GM, that the topic ranges from politics. For young people to talk about politics, it creates awareness. Some of the things that we're lacking here in Nigeria, that's why our leaders take us for granted a lot of the time. So, but by the time you build this awareness, it makes them to know what is happening in the polity, in governance. It keeps them abreast of what is happening. So you don't take them for granted as a leader. So I think it's a noble idea, it's a good idea that should be, encouraged and kept going.
Well, that's amazing from the AIM Group, the umbrella company of Wazobia Info, and of course we've added Kids FM to that group as well. But I must talk about circumstance or opportunity. I've said it many times. I believe that my career is directly connected to the opportunity I had as a child to be in the debating team. Because then, Onyekachi, if you think about it, a lot of what we do now, the research that goes into preparing for those topics. I remember they will give us a topic. Our English HOD will gather us together. They have points that they've, prepared from the staff room. But they tell us to go and read first on the topic to have an understanding of it before we now prepare. And it's kind of like what we do right now, going on radio, public speaking and all of that. And that really helped me personally. Now I'm thinking about kids who maybe go to a public school where there is no debate competition site. For these kids who are in Lagos now, of course, Nigeria Info put together the competition. The schools had a process where their kids qualified and now they are doing this. But there's a child somewhere who wants to but there's no opportunity. And so beyond the initiative of the private sector, Nigeria Info, I know an NGO that does a spelling bee. I don't know if it's once every year or two. They've invited me a couple of times to be a judge, but that also gets to a handful of schools. Not everybody can be a part of that. So should this become a government initiative? How can we expand this to ensure that more children have these opportunities to at least try to express themselves?
It's unfortunate, really, that, like you mentioned, we don't get to see a lot of these in public school, government-owned schools especially. That happens more in private schools, even highbrow private schools. Yeah. But so we can't really, leave this ball on the table of the government alone. Those public schools themselves must take up that initiative. The government shouldn't just come. I don't think that should be the responsibility of government. It doesn't also take away the fact that the government can encourage it, but then the schools should take up that initiative to begin to organize those. Like you mentioned, we do have those things, press club. Yeah. Those things in schools.
And they were right to go.
Yes. I went to a public school. I never attended any private school. So press club and all of those small clubs. So the schools must take up this initiative and begin to do these things again so that these kids will learn from this. It's important that we build those brain at that stage. That stage is key. Some of us missed out on some of those things. Yeah. And then when you see those opportunities now, you're like, oh God, I wish the parents of this child would know what this child is missing. So I don't know if you're a proprietor or a proprietress, or you're a teacher, you're a head teacher, you're a headmaster or headmistress, whatever they call it these days. I mean, you have a responsibility to make sure the children before you that God has given you to take care of, you take care of them properly.
Well, thank you for that, Onyekachi. I just remember press club. We need to do better. Then we had students who would take the news on the assembly, and the news was written and edited by students, not the teachers. So yeah, we do need to get back. Well done to Nigeria Info for this initiative. We're moving from that to another initiative the Nigerians are desperately waiting for and are not satisfied with where they are. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery did not roll out petrol this week in line with its earlier schedule. Now, last month, the president of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote himself, projected that the refinery will begin production of petrol between the 10th and 12th of August, which of course is this week. However, the Punch reports that it found that the 650,000 barrels per day capacity refinery may not meet that schedule, although multiple officials confirmed that all was set for the refinery to begin production of petrol before the end of August. Actually, we were hopeful.
Very hopeful.
We were hopeful.
Just like the Port Harcourt refinery.
Yeah.
That has become consistently inconsistent.
We'll get there. It's a part of this conversation. But your thoughts on this?
Well, it's unfortunate. I think we're missing the point here. Dangote refinery, when President Buhari launched it, it was in May, the last month of his administration. Yeah. It was supposed to come on stream that year. That was the promise we were told that particular year. Then we had June. Then June, it was pushed to July. July, it was pushed to August. August, this is the middle of August. Today is 17th, if I'm correct. So August is out of it now. Yeah. We've not been given another new date, so we don't know when it will come on. A lot of issues around that sector, Sam. A lot of issues. You really can't say this is... But the bottom line is there's corruption in that sector. There is those managing that sector are inconsistently consistent. Honestly, Sam, you don't know really what to say. And the president seems to be mute, sort of. There's something I've not seen in him regarding all of these refineries. There's something I'm waiting to see, because a lot of accusation about his interest in that sector. Yeah. That he has a business interest in that sector. So he needs to come and douse this tension. He needs to clarify all of these things. So he's been mute, he's been quiet. We've been hearing so much from the NNPC. The call for the sack of the GMD for the NNPC has been there for quite some time, and a lot of people feel he's not been performing. So it's difficult to really pinpoint exactly what's going on in that sector. But the point is that that sector has been immersed in corruption. Those handling that sector, they've not done well at all. Well,
there might be reasons connected to the failure to begin production before now. I remember that it was mainstream. This was word on the street, and what a lot of Nigerians on social media were saying, that at the time it was commissioned, the Dangote refinery, it wasn't ready. It seemed like a cosmetic, it needed to be commissioned by the Buhari administration just for the purpose of, record and all of that. Because after the commissioning, multiple sources confirmed that work was still ongoing on the refinery. There were still, even though it was over 90% complete and all of that, but at that time it was not ready.
For commission. It wasn't supposed to be commissioned.
Yes, it wasn't supposed to be commissioned. So maybe we can understand, okay, Buhari needed that feather in his cap before he leaves. Let it be that he commissioned. Now he has left. We've had an entire year of the Tinubu administration, and we're still shifting the goalpost. While I understand that Dangote refinery is private, right? We have the right to ask questions, but again, that's a person's business if you think about it. Yes, we have a stake. Our own refineries, which we have the 100% right to question what is going on with that. Before Onyekachi answers, let me take the thoughts of those in position to answer that question. The zonal chairman of Pengasen, George Nwosu, says rehabilitation and construction work at the Port Harcourt refinery is 90% complete. This is amazing. Based on his recent visit to the facility, Mr. Nwosu told Correspondent Suibi that he's optimistic that the Port Harcourt refinery will soon become operational.
My last visit to the refinery, work is going on up to about 90% completion. But there are some bottlenecks. Tell you that from my last visit, the refinery rehabilitation is 90% completed. Total overhaul, the total rehabilitation. At the stage they are now, they are almost at the stage of starting up the refinery, meaning that the change of parts have been completed, the test run have been done. It's just some little hiccups from the heating agent that they are still trying to fine-tune. But I can tell you for free, within a couple of weeks, I will be put up on that refinery.
And so, however, spoke on some of the challenges facing the refinery, noting that fluctuations in the cost of petrol may persist even after the refinery is up and running.
Which ordinarily should have been to the pipeline from the export zone. But we have to cover, well, no choice. Those are additional costs you incur in transaction. You start to cargo crude oil from that place to the refinery. You add to the cost of refining, and this will also add to the cost of the product. Product is being imported. The rate of the cost of importation affects the end users' prices. So you can't just say this is the exact price. It's not being driven by private sector. This is still the one supervising the whole oil and gas. So they have to be held responsible.
Onyekachi, there you have it. The zonal chairman of Pengasen stating that by his assessment, it is 90% complete. So
well, that's by his assessment. I've had the privilege of talking to a few of our colleagues who have gone in there to do some kind of reports. Of course, when you go in there, they will not allow you to take a shot of anything. But I know one or two persons that have spoken recently that when you hear them talk, you just forget that this refinery will work in the next 1 year. Even though they are not experts, they are journalists, they've gone there to speak with people who are working there, technicians, engineers, who tell them, my brother, leave that thing with the talk, see the work here, that kind of thing. So that's why I said this is his personal opinion. So let's just keep waiting and praying, like the clergyman will tell us to do, and hoping that the refinery someday will come on stream. It's unfortunate that we are in this kind of mess with this refinery. We have two refineries in Port Harcourt. We have one in Warri, we have one in Kaduna. We're still talking about the first one in Port Harcourt, not the other three. We've been pushing it. It was a campaign promise for Buhari. This particular refinery, it was used against Jonathan administration by the Buhari. Buhari spent 8 years, is gone. We're in the 9th year, the first year of the Tinubu administration. I mean, it's I don't know the word to use really. I don't know really. Dangote actually alleged sometime that these guys have refineries in Malta and Russia, so they would not allow this to work. So, I mean, there's nothing to prove that what he said was wrong.
After the break, we get to hear from you. Please stay with us.
It's all talk and
Onyekachi Nwosu is still right here with me. Hello, Onyekachi.
Hello, Sam. Hello to our listeners.
All right, we'll talk about the debate tournament, which has kicked off this week by Nigeria Info. It's titled I Beg to Differ. If you've been listening, following, you must have caught an episode or two. It usually happens around when my colleague Kalada should be on radio, the hard facts part of the show. Dangote refinery fails to meet deadline for rolling out petrol, and indeed our own Port Harcourt refinery. So for now, there is no functional refinery in the country, as there haven't been for quite some time, and we are hopeful. Before the break, my guest, Onyekachi, says, let us hope, and he remembered to add and pray that it comes on sooner rather than later. Well, the chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, in Rivers State, Alex Ogonwo, has expressed frustration over the federal government's delay in the operational start date for the Port Harcourt refinery. Mr. Ogonwo said the union is aware that maintenance work at the refinery has reached an advanced stage, but they are concerned about whether the federal government will fulfill its promise. That's the concern of most Nigerians, really.
And NNPC have come to make statements several times. So the refinery will work, so it will start to produce PMS. That promise has also been made recently, that this month of August. So for us, we don't believe in those promises again. We want to see it happen. And to a point, we're also aware that food has also been delivered to the refinery. So what we don't know is why the refinery cannot produce PMS and other products up to now. So we are still hopeful that, as the promise again this August, that the refinery will work. It is very important that the government stand by their promise and make sure these refineries work.
Mr. Gwangwa also explained that a prolonged non-operation of the Port Harcourt refinery has negatively impacted some union members who rely on the refinery for their livelihood.
We are very hopeful that the Port Harcourt refinery, as promised, will start working, because our members are also suffering. We have no less than close to about 5,000 people that depend on the night for survival. For the period of this period, these persons are unemployed. So imagine when the refinery starts working, 5,000 persons being engaged, or more than that. Also reduce the level of unemployment. Our members here, both IPMAN, IMB, Sutakef, oil and gas suppliers, because of the mobility of the refinery, they cannot even live for their family. So the impact is so much that for us, we are also worried.
All right, we'd like you to be a part of the conversation. The numbers to call are 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. We're live on Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria InfoPH. You can watch and listen and drop your comments on those platforms. You can also send messages to WhatsApp on 080 903 06416. Please turn off your radio, go straight to the point, so we have a smooth conversation. On WhatsApp, all public schools are government-owned schools as against private. Furthermore, the school educational curriculum and educational policies are prepared by the Federal Ministry of Education with support of state. The above position means that the federal and state governments have not considered it necessary to have school debates in their curricula. The gap is being augmented by the radio houses, NGOs, and private to ensure that students today are well-grounded in their respective private schools. Thanks, from Concerned Listener. Thank you very much, Concerned Listener, for that. Let's go to the phone lines. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Okay, my name is Austin.
Go ahead, Austin.
Calling from Cuba.
All right.
It's in respect of this Nigerian refinery located in Port Harcourt. My brother, our government has been lying to us for 80. It's not even this new administration. It will not work. They have refineries in other countries where they take our crude and do what they have to do. They send it back to us for us to buy in high rates. So why will it work? It will never work, honestly. So we should come to reality that this is what we are going to face. Look at in Abuja today, and when the drink show that 1,000 naira per liter. Over here in Port Harcourt, it's 900, 900, 800 and something naira. In a country like this that I was born, and my mother and my father told me this is your country, that I took a cake for 4 liters. One second time I went to filling station, I bought fuel, 4 liters, 200 and something naira, and it is just filled up. Today now I'm buying a liter of fuel at 900 naira. I cannot even drive it, not even what for? Why? This will have been lying. That from on the 27th of May till today, this country has never been balanced. Anyway, let's try.
All right. I understand the frustration, but we actually do hope it works. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, God bless you, my beloved brother from another mother. Good morning.
Morning, what's your name?
My name is Urene Sampson. I'm calling you from the city of Abua Uda in the Mago Kubo clan.
Okay, that's a city. That's interesting. Please go ahead.
Yes, God bless you, my brother. You know, this refinery of the king is one thing Nigeria has been clamoring for a very long time. Apart from Nigeria, me in particular, is one thing that I've been clamoring for a refinery to be functioning. You could imagine from the last investigation when I find out that it's only Port Harcourt refinery that we are talking that if it would work, this will, the rest, Nigeria, we should just lose hope that this year, we should just counter that this year the rest will not work. What is happening to our leaders? What is happening once again? The leaders of this great nation called Nigerians. What is happening? Do you like to see your sons, daughters, wives, mother going through this hardship that we are going? Go along our filling station across Nigeria. Go see what Nigerians are facing. Go see the queues. Palitana is 900 something. The leaders of this great nation, are you happy? Are you happy? I am begging each and everyone, every gladiator in this nation. I am begging in the name of God Almighty now, please try and do something. Thinking the world, what to do, what can we do to solve this issue on ground? Go to our refinery, Port Harcourt refinery that they are clamoring. Go to the, you can't drive and go to that refinery. You're talking about the refinery, how about the road to the refinery? What is happening in this great nation called Nigeria, my beloved nation? I am not happy at all. I am not happy with the way our leaders are treating us Nigerians. My brother, I don't want to say much so that you won't say that I'm saying what that will pain you. Let me just cut my speech here because I'm not happy from the depth of my heart.
Oh, thank you very
That's
much.
my environment I am living. For you to locate Port Harcourt, do you know how much?
Thank you very much. Lots of Nigerians are not happy. We understand. Excuse me. We understand the frustration. We really do. Okay, I lost that call. Call back if you can. There's a message on WhatsApp. It's asking, please ask Port Harcourt Refinery, where are they keeping all the crude oil that have been sent there recently? And that's from an anonymous source. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother in the studio.
Morning. Sorry I had to let you go. Please call again. Something about that line was not working well. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello? All right, call back if you can. Good morning. Welcome to the front page.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
On Federal Intersection.
What?
Federal Intersection.
That's your name?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Go ahead.
All right. On this issue of Dangote refinery, I come to understand that, to my own knowledge, Dangote is one of the major problems of this country.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
In many sectors, like cement, in many businesses, Dangote folded many companies that they ought to function. And today, he has collaborated with the federal government that he wants to have a refinery. Many things just going on. And I can assure the country today, the refinery they are postponing is not going to function 10 years. All of us knew. That's why they are giving one excuse. This month, next year, this week.
Okay, but federal intersection, Dangote has invested, based on public knowledge, very close to $20 billion to set up that refinery. So if it doesn't work in the next 10 years, that's a lot to throw away.
Yeah, my brother. Even the refinery function, even producing products here, they will still sell it in outside country. Because those that have refinery in outside country, those are the ones that are fighting the country for refinery not to work, for them not to fix the refinery in order. So Dangote and them, they are one.
Okay,
so
okay.
That is it.
Well, I understand where he's coming from. Onyekachi, you and I have time and time again heard about the monopoly of Dangote, how he tries to be the monopoly in many other sectors. You see, but love him or hate him, a Dangote would want his refinery to work. Regardless of whatever he is accused of before now, whether or not it's true. You don't throw that kind of... It's not 10K. It's not a $20 billion investment. It's not the kind that you just want to. And whether or not it's Dangote, even if it's my dad that owns the refinery or someone Onyekachi knows, you and I would want to buy petrol way cheaper than we buy it now.
Of course.
So, my brother, Federal Intersection, and I love your name, that's why it's going to be hard to forget it. Please understand that we all want to get to a point where it is easy for us to be Nigerians. Simply Goodness from Alaka here on WhatsApp says, the I Beg to Differ debate tournament of champions have lived up to expectation. And I have been particularly impressed with the likes of Adenike and Demilade. Obviously, you're following. Talking of public schools, how can the government encourage things like this? And the infrastructure in the education sector is in shambles. For Dangote refinery and our local refineries failing to come on stream, the wait is now becoming like the second coming of Christ, and I don't see it coming to fruition anytime soon. My brother, as a Christian I am, Christ will soon come. That's going to happen.
At least we're giving the dates now.
Yeah, of course, we're not.
But this one we've been giving several dates.
Okay. Well, if it's from that perspective, I do understand. All right, let's move from that to an interesting headline this week. Onyekachi, did you hear that the EFCC donated some money? Okay, so before we get into it and, make the jokes and laugh, let me take the report first. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, has donated the sum of 50 billion naira to support the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. This was disclosed by the Anti-Graft Agency on Tuesday, August the 13th of 2024. When the fund's managing director and chief executive officer, Mr. Akintunde Sawyer, led its management team on a courtesy visit to the EFCC headquarters in Abuja. Sawyer noted that the fund, an initiative of President Bola Tinubu-led administration, was designed to provide funding for the education of indigent students. Now we're going to get to the part 2 of this, but the part 1, which is this headline, EFCC donates money to education fund. How does that hit you as an Onyekachi?
First, I was thinking, where did EFCC get money to donate? Then something happened to me, okay, it must be money looted fund that they recovered. Yeah. Again, and I asked, is it in their place to just take it and give to an agency? So I made an inquiry. I realized that headline was misleading.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was misleading. That was not the appropriate thing.
Okay, so for clarification, the EFCC said the 50 billion handed to the Nigeria Education Loan Fund was not a donation from the Commission. In his speech on the End Bad Governance protest on August 4th, President Bola Tinubu actually ordered the release of the sum to NEL Fund. This week, and these are the words of our president, I ordered the release of an additional 50 billion naira each for NEL Fund, the Student Loan and Credit Corporation, from the proceeds of crime recovered by the EFCC, President Tinubu said. So this was a directive from the president. But I'm also concerned. So EFCC has 50 billion that they're just, that they've recovered. That's a lot. And it's 50 billion in two installments.
Yes.
So that's 100 billion.
Yeah. One went to one account, one went to NEL Fund. But the point is this. It wasn't like EFCC, because it would be illegal for the EFCC to take that fund and give to NEL Fund.
Yeah.
They actually, by law, they are supposed to give it, deposit into consolidated accounts for the CBN. Then the president gave that directive that it should be given to NEL Fund. I think that's what happened. So I wonder where the press came up with, why they came up with that.
Yeah, but it's because of, this statement was made when the fund guy went to thank EFCC. Why? It is the president. These are the issues. If I carry my people and go and meet Mr. Onyekachi to say thank you, whoever wasn't there but they witnessed that visit will say, it be like say Onyekachi give my family money. But what it was that your superior, the president, says, okay, from the money you've recovered, we are going to take. So why did he visit the EFCC to thank them?
That's a question he needs to answer. We don't understand why they visit. Why did you visit the EFCC?
There was no point. The directive was from the president.
Yes.
And my beautiful country, Nigeria, it's almost like even things that shouldn't be news, we find a way to make drama out of, because we shouldn't even be having this conversation. But another point is, and this is something that happens many times, why is there always a rebuttal or some form of response after Nigerians react? You see, when this made headlines, of course, Twitter is the first place where, and people were saying, government is donating to government. That was the popular narrative. Some say it is another way to take money and all of that. And the reaction is what led the EFCC to now clarify, to say, no, we didn't donate. So why can't we just have the facts the first time? Why does something have to be in the public space? And then when Nigerians react, then we now get the actual story.
Somebody is just trying to be mischievous. That's what I think. Either somebody from EFCC or from Nelfond is trying to be mischievous with this particular story. Maybe that was the intention. That's what they intended to create. And then the reaction now made them to make a U-turn. That's the way I'm beginning to see it, honestly.
Okay, well, next time, please do not be mischievous. Go straight to the point and give us what we deserve. Like I said earlier, we are live on Facebook and Twitter. Maxwell Daniel says, good morning, Nigeria Info. APC's NWC needs to be questioned. How can they have said to have appealed High Court judgment or still claim Emeka Beke is not recognized by them? I think they need to explain to us if they are now bigger than the law. Well, he's responding to our final headline, which we'll be discussing shortly. Lawrence Friday says, Court removes Tony Okocha as caretaker committee chairman. Please, my question is, Court of Law and APC NWC, which one are they supposed to obey? Because both people in this matter are obeying one of it. Okay, that's interesting. Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Goody, calling from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead, Goody.
Building refinery here, problem. Building outside the country, problem. The best way is for them to come back in this nation. If we have up to 20, 15, 10, 5 refinery, it's never 18. They didn't come back here. In fact, I don't know why people are naughty of Dangote. That man is so humble that he will not even quarrel with Obasanjo, who was very controversial in his own regime. He will not quarrel with Yaradua, Jonathan, and a lot of people. The man is so humble, decided to come and put this in his country. Let people help this man, and let other senators, governors, reps, let them come back and make sure that they put a refinery here. It's going to help us. Look at how we are crying. These people are up to, I think I heard you saying up to 20 billion naira. I mean, you say 200 billion naira.
$20 billion, not naira.
Okay, $20 billion. Do River State government don't have that money? Imo State, Abia, Delta, Edo, Kogi, other states did it. So far, the state in the country is concerned, they can do that. Even individuals, senators, they have more than that money, which they can put it in this country. We will not be suffering all these things. Why are we undergoing all these things, for God's sake? Let them come back. We don't want to hear maybe collide with federal government or not federal government. What we need is refinery. I think private refinery. Then the state government must make sure they put theirs. Don't the government have it? Don't the federal government have it? They have more than that, and they can do that. They should help us with the refinery. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. We don't have a lot of time, and we must discuss our final headline because that seems to be one of the hottest things that happened this week, especially from River State. The State High Court in Port Harcourt has removed Tony Okocha as the CTC chairman of the APC and has reinstated Emeka Beke as chairman of the party. Other members of the committee were also removed. The suit was filed by APC executives led by Emeka Beke against the party's national executive and a 7-man caretaker committee in River State led by Tony Okocha. The ruling was delivered virtually by Justice Sika Aprioko, who previously heard arguments and reserved judgment. The plaintiffs were seeking clarification on the constitutionality of their suspension and inauguration of the caretaker committee. The state chairman of the APC, Emeka Beke, says it's time to put the party together He was speaking in an interview with correspondent Martha Okere shortly after the court ruling.
It's God doing, not me. It's God. We're going to put the party together. That's my assignment, to put the party to be on ballot. I'm going to consult my leader, but I believe as a party, we never back from the national election. We cannot back up from the state election. We're on. Everybody should remain calm. The party had a structure, and we're going to start with the party structure to make sure we put the party straight. As chairman of the party, duly elected.
Okay, every time we have to talk about Rivers politics, it's never really one thing. There are always so many sides. There are always court rulings. There are always, it's always packed. No matter how small that headline might seem, there's always a lot to unpack. So obviously, I'm saying this to say that we can't really go into all of it, even if we have all the time. It just would never be enough. But what's your take on the APC, Tony Okocha, and Emeka Beke situation?
Well, I think the national body should just obey the court ruling and then move on from there. Whether they appeal or they don't appeal, the court ruling stands. The excuse they've given, Emeka Beke has come out to say he's not aware of any court ruling that he had before on this same matter as his person as a chairman of the party. There was never anything like that is up to his notice. So let them just go ahead, obey the court ruling, and then go on appeal. That you're going on appeal doesn't stop you from obeying this particular court ruling. So that's just my take on it. But it has a background to all of this. Emeka Beke, the reason why he was suspended according to the party was because of anti-party activity. He was believed to be supporting Atiku Abubakar then, subtly. So that's why they asked him to go and then brought in Tony Okocha. A lot of issues around it. But then the court has spoken. So they just have to obey the court ruling.
All right. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Please turn off your radio. You're my final caller. Give me your name.
This is Honorable Amade Patrick.
All right, go ahead.
I am calling from Apreche.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to comment on Dangote refinery.
Okay. Are you there? Okay, I'm guessing.
Short of the date for the refinery to work. How long are we going to wait? I am aware that the government, the top politicians, are in cooperative with Dangote, and that is why they know what they are doing. They don't want us to achieve. I want to tell you, I preserve and I also support modern refinery so that we can get free and operate on what we have in River State. In Neche here where I come from, there are a lot of oil in Neche. Why should I suffer for fuel to transport?
Oh, those are important questions Nigerians are asking. But again, unless I didn't hear you well, I don't see why Dangote would want to jeopardize his own efforts.
No, of course he wouldn't. I don't know why people keep, having that view about him. Even if he doesn't do that here, doesn't supply crude here in Nigeria. I mean, he's already discussing with some other African country.
Yes.
To begin to do that.
Why would he not want his own investment? How exactly does that work? Anyways, this is as far as we can go. Thank you, Onyekachi, for making the time.
Thank you, Sam.
All right. The front page returns next week. Please stay with us.
Nigeria Info will be right back.
All 380 games are about to come alive on your mobile phone. Step into the